to Both Sides Now, featuring the unconventional duo, Dr. Shirley and medium Kelly White. Two perspectives, one world. This is Both Sides Now.
Welcome, everyone, to Both Sides Now. I'm Dr. Shirley.
Hi, everybody. I'm spiritual medium Kelly White, and we are here with John Williams. Hi, John.
Hey, ladies. How's your wonderful Monday going?
I love that background. It reminds me of the Hollywood Bowl. Doesn't it remind you of the Hollywood Bowl, Kelly?
Totally.
I love it.
Back, you mean before March when we could
Oh,
go? Do you know where I was?
back when life
Where
was
we were,
different.
Shirley? For the Hollywood Bowl for my birthday in September. Shirley took me to see Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah.
Last year.
Such a good concert.
Oh, such a great night. Oh my
So
gosh.
fun.
I had so much. Well, guess what day it is today?
Well, I know it's a special day.
It's a very special day. Do you know what day it is? It's my mom's birthday, everybody.
Yeah.
In heaven, she'd be 88. She'd be pissed
Wow.
off that I was saying that.
Oh, don't you say that.
She'd be like, oh, fix your hair. Do your makeup.
Put some lipstick on.
Put some blush on. What's your hair? You've got to do your hair, Kelly. When was the last time you did your hair?
Funny.
Seriously, that would be the conversation.
I saw it on my calendar today.
But she was so great. So tonight I'm wearing her outfit in celebration of her. I'm wearing her top and her jewelry.
Aw.
Yeah, because I love my mom. She was the greatest. I was
Yeah,
really lucky.
sure
She was
was.
the greatest. And I have to tell you something really wild. On Friday night, I jumped in with with James Van Prague in his psychic. No, it was mediumship Friday night, John, right?
Right.
And I wanted to mention this, that somebody wrote on one of the comments, I love to see Kelly's flowers. I think it was Kim Bracken. If you're listening, Kim, I think it was you. And she said she was always loved seeing the flowers so much that she said that she went to Trader Joe's herself and treated herself to flowers.
Oh, how nice.
Which I really loved because that was all about my mom for me. I always have fresh flowers because of my mom. And normally she loved gladiolas and roses. But they didn't have either at Pick and Save, my only place that I can get flowers. Now that I'm in Wisconsin, that's it of where I live. But I bought some beautiful stargazer lilies. And if you notice what I have them wrapped in, that's for our special guest tonight. Can you see back
wrapped
there?
in? No, I can't.
Well, you can't see probably. They're paw prints.
Oh, paw prints. Oh, that's cute. There we go. Now I can see it. Yeah. It's so funny. I have a beautiful bouquet of stargazer lilies. They're my favorite that I have sitting in my kitchen. And behind me, Sydney gave me some roses, yellow roses, so you can see those.
Yeah.
See, we
A
had
while
a
back,
treat.
so they've been.
Are you hearing through your speakers? Because we're getting feedback.
From me?
No, when Kelly talks, I was hearing Kelly through Shirley, so I was just double checking to see what's going on. You hearing through your headphones?
Yeah.
Okay, it's weird.
Am I still getting a feedback, John?
No, when you talk, I was hearing it through Shirley. That's what I was saying. Yeah.
Oh.
So I was just
Okay.
We'll see if we can work it out.
Well, anyway, everybody, this is quite a day we're having.
It is a day.
It's been a very trying day, so please share with us your knowledge.
Would you like to know everything about September?
Not really, because I know it's going to be horrific, but yes, I'd like to be prepared, I guess.
I have to tell you something. There's this app I have called Sky View. And it's like, I don't know if it's, is that me or is that Shirley?
No, it's Shirley. When you're speaking, it's coming through her and it back ends. So
okay.
Yeah, it's Shirley.
Okay. We're going to try that again. Anyway, there's this app called Sky View, and it's so amazing. I don't remember if it's free or if it's a couple dollars, but if you put it in the sky, it shows all of the planets. So I do this every night, and it's so fun to see because it really describes of what's going on now. And if you look in the sky and you see this red orange planet, that's actually Mars. And that's on one side over here. And if you use this gadget or this app, you can see the other planets. There's Saturn. You can see Jupiter, you can see Neptune. And it's really wild because Saturn and the moon and Jupiter are all to the right, and they're all squaring off with Mars, which is what I wanted to talk about. But you can actually see it in the sky.
Wow, that's interesting.
It's really interesting.
Download that app.
Oh, you're going to love it. It's called Skyview. There's a bunch of them. I mean, this is just the one I have. But it's just fun to see because I talk about this kind of thing, and then actually to see it in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
And
Wow.
they talk about Mars as the red planet. Well, let me tell you what goes on this month, everybody. Put your, as my mother would say, your big girl and big boy pants on, because
Mm-hmm.
we are in for September. September's I guess I won't sugarcoat it. It's pretty intense. So let's start off by on the 1st of September, which is tomorrow, the 1st and 2nd, we're going to have a full moon in Pisces. Now,
Mm-hmm.
Pisces is full of emotion, so it's going to be a heightened state of emotion. The
Mm-hmm.
1st and 2nd, a full moon brings emotion. You add Pisces to that, it's going to be pretty intense. Now, this is a good day if you want to clean your crystals because some full moons are not good for that, but this one is actually good for cleaning your crystals. How do I do that? You take it out, put it on a table, put it outside, put it on the grass, anywhere in the moon where the moon can, gets that moon energy. Another way you can do it to clean them is put them in a sink with like salt water. They love that too. And just clean them off and then do that and take them out. You can do that. Anyway, that's one thing you can do during this full moon. But it may bring a lot of chaos and confusion during the next few days. But that's just one aspect. So here we go into September. So it starts with the full moon, just out the gate.
Mm-hmm.
Then between September 9th and September 12th, for these 3 days, the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, I guess 4 days, we're going to have 7 planets in retrograde during that time. 7 planets in retrograde. We're going to have Neptune that's been in retrograde, and it strips away illusions. It makes it also very intense. We have Jupiter retrograde. We'll have Saturn retrograde. We have Pluto retrograde. And then on September 9th, we have Mars retrograde. We also have Uranus retrograde and Chiron, the wounded healer, retrograde. That's 7 planets for these 4 days, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. On September 11th, which is already a heated day if you think about it, that day in numerology, it's a 33. So a very powerful, intense few days there, okay? So I just want you to remember, everybody should be as think before they respond because this is going to be a very, very intense time. During these days, these particular days that I'm talking about, you may likely feel more inclined to be alone, frankly, and rest and kind of reflect on your choices because it's going to be a very intense time. I've been saying this all along, but Mars goes retrograde in Aries on September 9th, and that is going to be a very intense time. And that stays retrograde until November 13th. Long time and in its own house, which is Aries, which makes it very powerful. Normally, in a retrograde situation, retrograde slows things down. Normally, but not with Mars. Not with Mars. Mars doesn't slow down. It just gets very, very, very intense. And this Mars retrograde in its own sign in Aries on September 9th going forward, it brings up things from the past. It brings up protests, it brings up weapons, it brings up violence. Anything that's been suppressed comes out, and repressed anger. So you want to watch who you're around. If people trigger you, I would say those are not the ones to be around. You want to think like that. And I know we're in a limited time of who we can be with and who we can't be with. I mean, it's interesting, such a time. So the invitation here is to be very mindful. Mindfulness is going to be everything. Check your breathing. See how you're feeling.
Yeah. Ground yourself.
Ground yourself. Avoid acting on an impulse. Okay, really. Should I reiterate that? Don't act on an impulse, please. And figure out another way to release and process some difficult emotions that may come up. Mars retrograde means it's unusual because, again, if I talked about Mercury retrograde, things would be scattered and you wouldn't be focused. This Mars retrograde means to be focused and determined and ready to take action. So this is a very serious time, very intense time. I mean, but that's just some of the stuff that's going on. And then a Jupiter goes direct, and I believe that's on the 12th. So that'll go direct. That's a good sign when Jupiter goes direct. So that's something I think is probably going to be a little better, but it's still going to be intense. on September 19th, and we're going to talk about this on Thursday's show, in Vedic astrology, the nodal axis changes, and that makes life also very intense. But we're going to talk about that on Thursday because it's two different forms of astrology. So we're going to talk about that on Thursday.
Okay.
But on September 23rd and September 24th, Mercury squares Saturn. So again, you've got two planets squaring off, Mercury and Saturn squaring off. And Mercury at the same time, the fastest moving planet, opposes Mars. So this is not a good day, not a good time at all. And also on September 23rd, Mercury is going to be in Libra, and it's going to square Saturn. And again, opposing Mars. Very, very intense. A lot of arguments during this period of time. A lot of arguments would be going on. And on September 29th, it's the second big square of Mars squaring Saturn, but this time Mars is retrograde, Saturn is direct. That's very warrior-like, okay? Very, very warrior-like. What? Oh, wow, this doesn't sound good astrologically speaking. That's correct.
No, you missed the comment Wendy said, going back into the bunker.
Yeah, stay in the bunker. It's a good place to be. And we'll talk more on Thursday's show about some of the rest of the things that are going on, but September is really, I've been saying all along, September starts the kickoff of a very, very intense time downward, or however you want to call it. But I want to remind people, we wanted to be here during this time. Yeah. And things will shift and change later, not now, but they will get better later.
For a refund, sorry.
Calling for a refund, yeah. I tell you.
Can we refund this life? Do over, please.
Do over.
Exactly.
It's going to be, but our souls will grow 7 times more in this lifetime. We wanted to be here to take all of this in. So we'll go down and then we'll come back up again. It'll be the Phoenix rising. So this is just some big hurdles that we have coming up.
This is the start?
It's the start, Wendy. Yeah, Wendy Ann, that's correct. It's the start.
Oh, my.
But I'm glad that you're reminding us. I'm sorry, John, what was that?
No, I was just saying this has been the year of intensity, and every month it just seems to get more and more intense.
Well, remember March, how all of a sudden we found ourselves in this bizarre situation, right? Yeah, just really strange. Right. Okay, this is like times 10. Yeah. This is a very, very rough time. It's a very intense time. And again, just watch your temper, just watch it. Don't antagonize if you can. Just kind of go inward, bunker down. I like that.
Yeah, it says I've got words from my higher self.
Yeah. That's very funny. Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. Anyway.
But I'm glad that you're reminding everyone, and including myself, that we chose to be here and that we will grow.
Oh my gosh.
Going through this, because it is tough on a lot of different levels.
It's tough on everybody, but what's going to how long will this intensity last? Till about close to February. I'm totally serious.
Wow.
It's not good because we have eclipses coming up later, and then we have so many other things that are coming up. But I would really specifically watch the 9th, the 10th, 11th, and the 12th, particularly that 11th. And then again on Thursday we'll go into a little more detail of other things. But yeah, looking forward to the growth, right, Wendy? Go us. I mean, I laugh. I think, what would my mother say? And she'd be asking me what's going on. That's what she would say, and then she'd say, "Let's have a martini." And that's probably what I'll do tonight.
That's actually a wonderful idea. Thank you, Kelly.
You're welcome. All right. Well, listen, we have time for grounding. Yes. Yeah, growing roots. This is the perfect time to do that.
Yeah.
Well, we have
a lovely
guest tonight. And I have to say, our guest, I want to do a shout out to our friend Lee. Lee, I know you love Tami. Yeah. So I wanted to say hi to Lee because he's a huge Tami fan. Yeah. We're all Tami fans.
Tami is wonderful. She's been on our show many times, but just for those who haven't met her or heard of her, she is an intuitive animal communicator, a compassionate medium, and a healer committed to helping relationships transform on every level. Her childhood experiences helped her forge a deep, compassionate connection with all beings, allowing her to see the true essence of any soul or situation. This unique ability enables her to tune in and see the soul path of your animal and how that intertwines with your own. And I commend all the Tamis out there that love our furry friends. Because
hi, Tami.
Hi.
hard for me to do that, but you have such an incredible heart and soul. I mean, I'm always baffled to hear how many do you have? Because you're a rescue, right?
I am. That's a myth.
I heard it the other day on James. You have
No,
67.
I was like, James, what? He must have been picking up those in spirit. That's all I could figure.
Oh, that's interesting.
I've had so many cross my path, and I do have quite a few on the property now, and they range in ages from like 3 to 18. I have one getting ready to turn 18. I had one come to me years ago. She was 13 and she lived to 21. When they come to me, they get younger. Like they are immortal. They just hang out forever.
They love being with you.
Yeah, and it's really been a journey and quite a blessing because it's taught me so much. And they have really taught me, on the ground, hands, frontline, what animals really think and feel, and how they process and how they see life and how they see their transition and death. And so it's it's one of those areas I feel like I've got a unique specialty in, fortunately or unfortunately, in that transition phase with animals. It's a super sacred journey, and I think it's one that's well worth talking about because it brings up so much with people. Our animals are.
Well, do you find, Tami, that more transition is going on now with animals?
I do.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I definitely am talking to more people who are struggling with their animal transitioning and they don't quite know what to do. The animal may be not well and they're what does the animal want? Do I get the vet involved? Is it time? There's so much confusion around that. And so what I've always told people, whether they're learning how to communicate with their animal or, at any point, is the very first thing you do is you slow it down and you just be with the animal. And, Kelly, you were talking about this period, and I made a note that the transition process for an animal actually forces us to slow down.
Yeah, it sure does.
It forces us to slow down and be with the animal. And I've talked to people whose animals are leaving suddenly and no warning, and it's just the trauma that goes with that is tremendous. It's like a big explosion to ones that are kind of easing out gently, and the people are like, are they okay? And what do I do? And so every situation's different. And I always say, well, we need to talk to the animal because that's their body. They know, they will tell us how to proceed. And mine always have. And I've always, if they've gotten ill, it's been a step-by-step process every day. What do you need me to do? Okay. And we're constantly tweaking or placing whatever they need to help them. But I've always told them, if you tell me what you need, I'm here to support that. It's not about me, it's about you. And they always guide me. And also, you tell me if you need assistance, make it very clear to me. If you want to go on your own, make it very clear to me because it's not my decision.
And so do you say this out loud to them?
Absolutely. And I was hearing James today on Soul Care talk about dreams are the main way that spirit comes to us, and dreams are one of the easiest way that animals can come to us. And a lot of my animals have let me know in dreams that they were leaving. And in various ways, I wrote a little article on that with a little dog named Pookie, and she told me, and took me in a dream. I had another dog named Annie. She was actually she was a foster from the local shelter, and she had a few puppies. But anyway, she was a basset hound, and she ended up getting cancer. And she was her whole soul path was about mothering, and so she got the mammary cancer, which fits with the grief that she felt. She was really sad. She even she never could quite let that sadness go. And she came to me in a dream. I was giving her medicine and stuff, and one day she wouldn't take it anymore. And that's a sign also. When they clench their teeth and they won't take it, it's not, that's a definite sign. And so she did that. And then she came to me in the dream. And in the dream, she said, I'm going on a trip. And she's talking to me. And I said, oh, you are? Where are you going? And she said, I'm just going for a while. I'll be back. And I said, well, are you leaving soon? And she said, yeah, I'm leaving soon. And, but I wanted to let you know. So I wake up and I'm like, okay. So that day I saw her and I ran errands and I came back and she had passed in her favorite spot.
Oh, wow. So she had let you know.
She'd let me know.
I have a question. I
Mhm.
don't know if it's ever been covered, but I've always been curious about this. When an animal has many babies
Mhm.
and the babies are given away to,
Uh-huh.
how does that affect them?
Hugely affects
I
them.
knew it.
Yeah.
They're mammals.
Hugely.
And
Yeah.
they attach. Absolutely. I would always think that would.
It's and the ones that have come on the property, I have had 4 mothers come. At one point I was like, do not send any more. Like the inn is full. But what I learned is they came so that they could experience being mothers the whole way through. That their babies had been taken from them or they had died. And I know with Annie, she had 5, 4 of them passed, and Henry was left. And Henry stayed with her, and she was able to fulfill that part of her motherhood. I have another one. She was dumped at Thanksgiving on the street, and this dog sat for a full day in the same spot waiting for the person to come back for her.
Oh.
And so somebody reached out and I was like, okay, I'll be glad to help. And so that's the unusual case where how that one came to me. Usually they come in weirder ways than that. But anyway, she had puppies like 5, 6 days later, and she was like the best mother ever. I didn't have to do a thing. I just was like, you show me, and she had it fully covered. She mothered those babies all the way through, and I have pictures of her. They would do this puppy pile with mom and sleep with her, and it was just she's a great mom. And so one of the puppies stayed behind. I named him after the Winnie the Pooh. So Tigger is the one that stayed behind with her. And every morning, like Tigger comes in and he sees his mom, and she still mothers him. So it's really important with mothers, especially to let, it's if they can complete their journey with their babies. Yeah. Oh, it's so important,
Until what age do you mean?
Well,
before the babies are giving away?
Well, I mean, usually people do it around 8 weeks. It can go longer, but there's a sort of like with, I had a beagle named Ellie, and she was my first. This is a funny story, actually. She was wandering the streets, pregnant. I took her in, and she had about 9 or 10. I mean, this was a beagle. So, I mean, I'm just saying. So 9 or 10 puppies, the gorgeous puppies. And at about 3, and I knew nothing. So I was learning on my feet. I'm like, oh my gosh, I please let me find a homes for all of these. Like, please don't leave me with this many dogs. So she nurses, and about 3 weeks, I go check on her, and she's up on an ottoman, and the babies are crying and they're hungry. And I'm like, you get down on that floor and you nurse those babies. So I pick her up, I put her down there, and she looked at me, and of course they're like, Mom. And so they're like all over. And she jumped back up on the ottoman, shook them off, jumped back up. We did this like 2 or 3 times until I finally realized. She just looked at me and she's like, this is your job now. I was like, let me get this straight. You want me to feed all these babies? This is your job. But she knew what she was doing. At 3 weeks, she was done.
Okay,
and she
Shirley,
was weaning
do we
them.
call this dog a borderline? I didn't know there were borderlines in the animal community. Who knew?
Who knew? Maybe narcissism
could have been part of our thing, bad mothers.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
That's right. This little group actually turned out beautiful babies. They went out into the world to the perfect homes, and the group turned out to have hemophilia. So, and it's very rare in dogs. Wow. So the males manifested it, the females are the carriers, and there were like 3 females. So the males got out there and they went to these great homes, and then they started having problems. And I didn't know at the time. I couldn't figure out. I thought, oh my gosh, what are these people doing to these puppies? But they got tested, and it turned out that they had that. And this is how the matches go, and how the universe always organizes. Wilbur, who's the sweetest little one of the bunch, went to a family where the mother had an aversion to seeing blood.
Oh.
So Wilbur would bump into something and start bleeding. So
he's a hemophiliac?
Yep.
It's
So
terrible.
think about that, so it brought each, and this kind of circles back to what we're talking about today. When an animal goes into a home, there's no coincidence, the match, no matter what. And so whatever happens, it serves to help us heal. It brings up things that need to be looked at. And so in that case, it caused a lot of conflict within the family, and a lot of family issues came up because of Wilbur. And Wilbur finally came back to me, and then I had him for about a week before he passed. But to this day, the father reaches out to me on Wilbur's birthday because he made such a big impact in their lives.
Wow.
So, when animals transition, it can look very much like, how in the world this seems so wrong, and it doesn't make sense. And, like with little Wilbur, he was 4 months old and having these horrific problems, but he was a healer. He was a healer.
Wow. Because he healed that family? Because
he healed that family. It helped bring up the tension that was between the husband and wife, so that they could then talk about things. When he would bump into the cocktail table and start bleeding, she would like freak out, and then the husband would have to manage her, and then the kids, and then so it brought up a lot of things in the family that really needed to be looked at. And so Wilbur came in and left very quickly, and I'm finding with animals now, that's the case. They're bringing up a lot of things that we need to look at, and sometimes that's done through their passing, because we're so connected and undefended with our animals that it cracks us open.
Yeah.
And we can't avoid the emotions.
So do you think that is why we may be seeing more and more loss in this next several months?
I do.
Because of what we're all going to be going through and experiencing, and all of our own emotions that come up, and how our animals sometimes really help us with emotion, but sometimes it might be time too. My thought is that it's that animal's time to go, and then we deal with what we need to, and then another one will come in to support us in our new journey, or in the journey that we're in. Because
it's also almost like it's their parting gift to us. Is to help us in a lot of ways address the issue of passing, address our own mortality, address things we're uncomfortable with, that we don't want to talk about.
Yeah, it's very true. When I first lost my first dog in 2008, when I first lost my Maggie May, I just adored and loved her. And she died suddenly after 6 months. I mean, that was it. I rescued her. She was, I don't know how old she was. They told me she was 4. She was probably a lot older. But anyway, she died tragically and suddenly and in my arms. And it was just awful. But what happened is I had to understand the death process. I had to understand my loss and grief and all of these things that I would have never had that experience, because who knew later on that was going to be an important one for me.
Right.
So she really taught me that. She taught both of us love, 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 and devotion. It was unbelievable. And my mom loved Maggie, and my mother did not like animals, Shirley. She was not an animal gal. Does that sound familiar?
She and I had many things in common, and that was one of them.
That was one of them. But she loved Maggie, and she loved Livy, my next one after that. And often, do you find that when you've lost one, that they on the other side bring us another one?
Yeah, I was just talking to somebody today to tell them that I had a lab named Molly, and I called her Mother Molly, and she mothered all the ragtag labs I had, and she would tell on them, she would squeal on them, and when they were getting into trouble, she would let me know, and she was really quite aware. And so she waited till everybody left. I mean, she let transitioned out, she guided them out before she left. She was the last.
Oh, wow.
And so at that point, I had no labs in this, property and where they had played, and it felt kind of empty. And so one day I'm leaving the property, and I see this lab running. It's a black lab, and I could feel she just felt frantic to me. And so I got out of the car to kind of observe, and a car came up, and I thought, oh, they're chasing their dog, right? And so the person rolled down the window. I said, is that your dog? And they said, no. Is it yours? And I said, no, but you're scaring it, because she was starting to get really frantic with that car. I said, why don't you go on and let me just be with her? So I sat down and watched her, and I said, I can help you, but like, I've got stuff to do. So if you want to be helped, we need to like get this done now. So I sat down, and the lab ran up, circled me 3 times, and then nudged the back of my head. And then after she touched me, which is what Molly used to do, by the way.
Oh, wow.
She laid down right beside me and went fast asleep.
Wow.
Fast asleep.
Wow.
So I and to this day, she's been here 4 or 5 years. I named her Cookie, and she's now got another pal, but Molly guided her here.
Wow.
Oh, that's
so
amazing.
yes, they do. They absolutely bring the next one to you. They actually love doing that. And I always tell people, ask them to help. They're right there. Like Samantha Curry said, they pop out of their bodies, and they're there. They're right there. And they look for ways to aid and assist and guide and be there.
Well, Martine has a question. Martine, I'm going to say this right. MVE Maeve? I'm not sure. Her question is this. She said she lost I lost last winter my young dog of brain issues. It was the hardest way. He was put to sleep. What was the reason of all of this happening? He suffered epilepsy and other illnesses, and they were incurable. His health declined in the quickest way. I think she means, should I save him? Did I save him? This has really been a heartache for her.
Does she want to call in? Because that would be a good way.
I don't know. I saw this on Facebook.
Yeah. So
Martine, if you would like to call in, but Tammy, can you address how difficult that is when
the animals come in and they have those kind of issues, one after the other after the other. I always ask people to look at when they came in, what drew them to that animal. What do they feel that they've been going through as a part of that? Like, what have their responses been to that emotionally? Because it's all interconnected. And a lot of times it teaches us to be more present with things that we otherwise would never, ever be exposed to, right? So it teaches us to be familiar with how they respond to their own issues and what we need to do to be with them. And it feels like this animal, he died in rage, temper, and lashing out, had to be put to sleep. It feels really intense in this particular instance, and I would love to talk to you, because I wonder at that point in your life, what was going on with you? What was going on at this stage in your life? Because there's always a gift, even though it seems so tragic, there's always a gift in the process. I've had many who have had a variety of issues, and it's hard to describe why that happens to that particular dog, but I do know, or that animal, I've watched some have really strong issues, and they spiritually grow from that. You can actually see that they evolve because of what they went through.
Right.
And they help us evolve.
I have a question for you, Tammy. Do you think dogs and animals have guides?
I do. I absolutely do.
Yeah. And that their souls are constantly growing too.
Oh, yes, definitely. Yes, definitely. And, there's just like with people, different consciousness levels. Same thing for animals.
True.
Yeah, same thing for animals. I have had the Dalai Lamas and the ones that are not as evolved, and the more evolved ones help the ones that aren't as evolved.
You mean the assholes of the bunch?
Right.
Sydney has My daughter has a dog, which was your first grandchild, Kelly, and now my grandchild.
That's right. And Herman.
They have this love affair that is just out of this world. And the moment they saw each other, it reminds me of, what was that? That old movie with Ryan O'Neal and
Love Story?
Love Story. It was just this love story. But he can be such a dick sometimes. And I should have said jerk, not, anyways. And so like when I'm taking care of him, or when she was going out or something, and I would say, Herman, come here. He'd kind of look at me and then look away. And like he was just waiting for her to come home. I mean, and I knew he was doing it on purpose. And sometimes when she calls him and he doesn't feel like listening, he'll ignore her. And he hears her. I mean, it's just so funny.
Selective listening, like it is for us.
Yeah,
it's just not on the priority list.
Right. Or I just don't want to be bothered right now.
Right. Well, I mean, they have their own determination of whether they want to do something or not. I had a dog, Katie, I had to ask her permission for everything. Nothing happened except when Katie said it was okay, it would happen. So,
God,
some are very independent.
Well, that's Otis. I mean, Otis.
Yeah. Otis has
Come on. He's the original independent man.
He's going to do what he's going to do when he wants to do it.
Oh, forget about it.
There's this beautiful film that it's about the reincarnation of a dog, and I can't remember the name of it. And the boy has a dog who eventually passes away, and it's kind of the life of the dog and the different reincarnations. And then he meets up again with
Dennis Quaid. That's a great.
It's Dennis Quaid, and Dennis Quaid is now an older man, and he recognizes him, and it's such a beautiful story.
Called A Dog's Purpose.
A Dog's Purpose. Okay, yeah.
I've actually run into that recently with several clients where the animals will be back, and they definitely I've encountered it more recently than ever, where I can feel that animal's not finished in this lifetime with the person.
So have you ever worked with an animal that has come back?
I have one on the property
that you had before and that came back.
Correct.
And for sure that animal came back. Isn't that a wild experience? I'm hoping that my two girls come back.
Aww.
Well, the thing is, it's a signature. Yeah. So that this goes to the fact that we recognize each other by our soul essence. Like, it doesn't matter what form we show up in. If you were in the room, you would feel and know that essence was in there. You'd be able to identify that energy and that soul, whether they were in a pig's body or a horse or, a bird. You would know it. There's a soul knowing and a soul recognition.
So that's a question maybe that I have for actually both of you. Do they choose different, species? Like, can a dog's soul reincarnate as a human or as a cat or as a different?
I don't think as a human, but that James would probably say, well, why not? But I don't think that.
See, I've had
species. I don't know.
I kind of do. I kind of do feel like they can. I've had animals who are literally they are like boys. They're definitely human. I had a dog named Mikey. No question, he was human. And I just talked with someone today, and that same situation this was a child. This was a human in a dog's body. Katie was definitely, she was my equal. This was no dog, what we would say.
Right.
So I think it has to do with the evolution of that soul.
That might make some
that's
sense.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, we have 4 calls waiting. Let's go ahead and get to the callers. And we have our first caller is Celeste. Hi, Celeste. Do you hear us okay?
Hello.
Hi, Celeste.
Hi. Can you hear me good?
Nope.
Hi.
Little
very
low.
Faint.
Yeah, it's very faint. I knew it was going to happen. That's the issue.
John,
today.
I knew it was going to happen because it's one of those days.
Yep.
When he says, I knew this was going to happen.
Yeah, it's not good.
No. Okay.
It might as well with the way things have been going.
Much
There
better.
you go. Yes, much better.
Yeah, that's good.
Blowing my ears out, but
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, so what I wanted to ask you about, my cat, which you had met, was going through transition.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get upset now.
Oh.
Saturday night, and she's really been clingy to me, having to lay on me and all that. And I honor that with her. But then she went outside and got a friend of ours brought their dog over for the first time. And my dog spooked her. She ran right to it, and he got her and, and killed her. And because I feel like I'm not one for feeling guilt and stuff, but I thought all she wanted from me was to be safe. And even though
I'm so sorry.
she got out on her own, I'm just heartbroken.
Absolutely. No, that is heartbreaking. Animals have choice, and it seems like something that's an accident. They have they have choice. They have deliberate choice of what they do. And I feel like she knew what she was doing.
Did she?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I do. And that's not your fault. And the reason I know this is I had a dog that did something and chose to leave in such a way that was so traumatic that it took me forever to get over. And I blame myself. I couldn't figure out how it happened. This doesn't happen on my watch. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. And then finally I was able to connect with her, and, told her, if you had to leave, that's fine. I can accept that. I really object to how you did it. Like, I just disagree with how you went. And she said, it was my choice. I went out as a warrior. And she was a husky, very proud husky.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so, it doesn't make sense to us when they do things like that. And it is absolutely heartbreaking. And they don't mean where Sasha got, she said she made that choice, but she didn't mean to cause so much pain to me. And I think that's the same thing for you.
I actually said that because I've known cats that have done that. You can see them committing suicide because, they're ready to go. And I've been working with her she's been in this transition for a while.
Yes, I remember. Yes.
It just, right now it's fresh. It just happened Saturday night and broken.
I am so sorry.
Yeah.
I am so sorry.
I'm so sorry too. Really.
But at the same time, I mean, I understand through my own evolution that she's all right. She didn't, but at the same, I just wanted to, I called immediately as soon as you started talking. I got to talk to her about this.
Yeah, no, because I can remember talking to you. Ask her to come to you in a dream and help you understand. Help you understand what her choice was. That you do understand it was a choice, but you need more information. Ask if she would do that.
I will.
And I want you to light a candle for her.
Yeah,
She wants a candle lit. If you haven't already done that, do that.
Okay, I will. Whatever she wants to do. But thank you so much. I just needed to talk to you on it.
I'm so glad you called.
Yeah.
I'm so glad. And I'm so sorry.
Thank you so much.
It's your heart.
Thank you for calling.
You.
Really, John, thank you.
Thank you.
Wow.
Let's get on to the next one.
No.
Bye-bye.
Such a hard
Bye. It's excruciatingly painful.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
John?
All right. So let's see. Do you guys still hear me? Because I had to turn my headset on. Okay. So we've got area code 720 next. 720. You are now on the line with us. We have your name, please, and where you're calling from.
Hi there. This is Carmen from Colorado.
Hi, Carmen from Colorado.
Hey, Carmen.
Hi, ladies. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. So I have a question. For one, do you actually communicate also with animals that are alive?
Yeah. Sure.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. So my dog, Roxon, right now, we're not exactly sure what he has. They're thinking he might have this autoimmune disease that's it's called masticori mitosis, and so he just went under, and they just removed a tooth. So I'm hoping that maybe it was due to an infection that mimicked all the symptoms of it. I mean, we just picked him up a few hours ago. And I've been really feeling my other Weimar, he's a Weimaraner.
Mm-hmm.
I've been really feeling my other Weimaraner around a lot lately. So I don't know if, if, you know, I don't know. It's just, I don't know what's, if he's going to be okay, if it could have just been from the infection. He's going to go back again on Wednesday.
It feels like that really, that infection did whack his body out, you know, quite a bit, and make things go askew all over, like systematically. It feels to me like he's going to be okay. He's going to make a recovery. And it also feels like your other one is actually guiding and helping with the process.
Okay. So you're thinking that he might not have this horrible autoimmune disease then?
What other symptoms has he given other than what you just mentioned?
He had, okay, so the symptoms that go along with it is they actually, it hurts them to open their mouth, so they can't open it, and some of them actually lock their mouth. They will lose their muscles. So basically, it affects their chewing muscles. Some of them, the top of their heads, they'll cave in. It's really horrible, and they have to be on prednisone for a long time, and then they have to try to taper them off, and hopefully they don't relapse. And some of them lose a lot of muscle. It's really hard to see. And my dog was drooling. His eye on the left side, it was inflamed. Mm-hmm. And I took down the prednisone just a little bit because mm-hmm. urinating so much. But it's kind of odd because you know what? That's the same side that she removed the tooth on today, the molar in the back. So it could be tied into that. But she said when she tried under, you know, sorry, I'm a little upset, under anesthesia, that his mouth was a little hard to open, but it could be from the infection, you know, and she said it was just a little infection though, but this could have been, you know, he could have had it a while ago. Mm-hmm. And, you know, his tooth was wobbly and she did find a little food underneath.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He feels so super sensitive to me. So things that would be not a big deal with other animals they're going to affect him more, you know, so his body's going to react more, almost an allergic reaction type thing with him. It feels like there's a big relief in him. If I feel into his body, I feel a great amount of relief. So whatever, you know, she did today has helped. And I would feel good about that. I would also really work on not putting so much attention on all the symptoms that he could have, and, you know, kind of watching over to see if he has this or that, because the more attention you place on it, it kind of worries the dog. And they wonder like, oh, if you're worried, then I probably have something to worry about too. I've been working with some different people that the animals have some stranger type issues, and the animals like, can we just like not talk about it? Can we just focus on something else right now, because they need a relief from that. So I think since you had this done, he's, you know, he's back home and recovering, I would definitely just, you know, you're doing a great job, everything's feeling really good, I'm so glad you feel relieved, let me know what else you need. That's going to make him feel like he's on the mend too, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. It really does. And he had a great weekend. And I told him, I said, don't worry. I said, the things are going to be okay.
Good.
I really feel that once he's on this antibiotic, I think it's going to help him a lot. And
hugely.
Hopefully, yeah. So hopefully Wednesday then, if this is it, then this means that it will not be this disease. And then hopefully, because he did have the blood test for this, just to let you know. And it did come back negative after 10 days, but she says it could be a false negative. But to me, because a lot of people that I've went on this website just to look at this disease did say that some of them were a false negative. But with him having this one tooth issue, this might be a saving grace to actually, that could have triggered immune, you know, reaction, like you said. So it is possible.
I feel good about it. I feel good about it. I think he feels good about it. He feels relieved. So I would totally take it in that direction.
Perfect. I think he is really sensitive to me too, so I think that's
exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
stop being a helicopter mom.
Picking up. Yeah. You're right. And okay, good. And you know what? Real quick, the other dog that passed away a few years ago, I just wanted to tell you guys this because you talked about signs. So I just wanted to tell you this. I actually got a phone call on my birthday and said his ashes are in.
Oh,
Wow.
On my birthday.
Oh, that's lovely. That's special.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah, so I just wanted to tell you ladies that because to me that was, because you're very emotional. You're like, oh my gosh, when I get his ashes, you're going to relive it. But to get it on my birthday, that's really amazing.
Wow.
So that's a sacred gift.
Okay.
Thanks for calling. Thank you so much.
Thanks for calling.
Really appreciate you ladies.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
So Sherry asks a question here. She says, I have children who all have a pet. And then they grow up and then they leave for college. And she's left with the dog, the cat. I mean, we know this one. I feel like they are here for me more than anything. Were we meant for each other more than their original owner? Such a great question.
Oh, it does. Yes. Animals come to us in all kinds of ways. So whether they slid into your life through your children,
like
or
Shirley, your grandchild,
or your grandchild, right. It's not so much important as the form they came in as to what they are in your life now and what they mean to you. And it feels like they absolutely are supposed to be there. And they had different soul purposes with each child. And so, the fact that you're now with them, they take you the rest of the way in the journey. So they've completed that part with your children.
Thanks. All right, John, one more.
All right. So let's talk really quick before we get to the next caller about the fact that Tami is going to be doing the workshop with James. So let's just bring up the details about that. And very much what she's doing tonight is a preview of what's to come, what she's going to be doing with James. So that information is up on the screen now. So you guys can go to vanprog.com and get a ticket for the 3 live online workshop series. So Tami is going to be on the last night of, so that's Thursday. And Tami, do you have the date for that?
September 10th.
Okay. Yeah, so September 10th, and that's at 4 p.m. Pacific.
7 p.m. Eastern, right.
Yeah. So make sure you guys get tickets for that. Bless you, Kel. And it's going to be an amazing night of animal communication, but mediumship specifically.
Right.
It's going to be great. I'm going to jump on that one. That would be fun.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
All right, and we're going to our next caller, and our next caller is in Michigan, it looks like, area code 248. And we have one other caller right after.
That's fine.
Hi, caller, you're on the line with us. Give your name, please, and where you're calling from.
All right, we're going to our next caller. Yes, I'm Amy.
Okay, just one second, Amy. If you could go ahead and mute your background noise, otherwise we are going to hear an echo. So while you're doing that, I'll bring you back in just a moment. I'm going to bring our next caller on. Please make sure the background noise is muted so that we can bring on and not have any echo. Okay, so area code, I guess this is in Belgium. Wow. Are you calling from Belgium?
Yes, it's Belgium.
Oh, wow.
Thank you. Can we have your name, please? Hello.
It's Martine. It's about my soul dog. I lost him last November, and it's here night time. But I'm very thankful for Tami for the gift that she has to communicate with pets. My dog, he died also as a warrior, and I didn't choose the way he died. He lashed out, and I think it was something genetic. He had hip dysplasia. He had also tachycardia of the heart. I think at the end he had a brain tumor, but I never knew how he had to die.
Oh, I'm so sorry. How old was he?
4 years and 4 months. But he was also from in the beginning. He had special needs. He suffered hip dysplasia. And he had a lot of troubles with the heart because his spine was not all right. And at the end, he lashed out and he terribly attacked us all. We had to go to the hospital. And I didn't agree with the way he went.
Right. He was not. He was not in his. Not all things were firing at that time correctly. He actually couldn't control.
He was sick and he attacked us. It was from one day to the other. He didn't remember anymore the things he saw outside.
Right.
And it was not a dog that I had before. I was never petrified, but the last days I was.
Right. He was deeply sorry for that, by the way, because he couldn't control himself. I was feeling a lot of in his body, just a chaotic energy in him that it almost like just couldn't control anything, and is deeply sorry for the trauma it caused everybody. Because
it was my love of my dog, and I want to take care of him. I want to protect him always. He went to the hospitals with holidays, and all he could do, and I learned him so much. I gave him painkillers. He went to the osteopath. I did all I had to do for him, and the last thing I had to do, I would put him asleep.
Right. He indicates to me that you were the only person who would ever have been willing to go through that with him. That it was more than most people could have ever handled, and that he was your heart dog. When you were telling me some of the things, he's your heart dog. He literally was your heart dog.
Thank
and
you.
The way he came into your life, the way he lived it with you, and the way he left were all having to do with this connection of the heart with you. It cracked your heart open in a way that you're still trying to put the pieces back. And I get a sense he's been.
I was thinking, did I do something wrong? I only
No.
First time on the leash in the morning, and he lashed out, and it was really a deep bite near to the hospital. Also, the same weekend hospital.
No, it wasn't you. It wasn't you. He had issues within himself that even neurologically that he wasn't being able to think or function properly. And so it's almost like he stepped out of his body. It wasn't the same dog kind of feel.
I didn't recognize my dog anymore. Is it therefore the behavior so strange? The brains, it was like a seizure or brain tumor or something with the genetic that went wrong inside the body?
Yeah. It just feels like neurologically he was it was way off, especially toward the end, and that it got increasingly worse, so that he says he was challenged from the beginning. There were a lot of things, like you mentioned, a lot of things going on with his body.
I was so happy. I stayed here 4 years and 4 months. I love pets. I nurture them. I adore them. In the beginning, telepathically with him also. I always knew I was giving him up very young, but I didn't know it was going to be that end. That's the hard thing.
Right. No, I totally understand that. What time of year was that it happened?
Mid-November, 17 November.
Yeah.
Walking, it was first 8 October. I was playing with my cat inside the house. And I and him was playing, and suddenly, before he could also do a bit of pain or fear, not the reaction that I wanted. It was unprovoked. I was playing, and he was biting. So he stopped playing with me and the cat, and he bit in the hand. But that was 8 October, and he died 17 November, and the vet never saw it before. She said it's like psychosis. He has to something neurologically wrong, because when she put him asleep with 3 injections, he was in his bench, and I was near him. I didn't dare to touch him. I was always speaking to the angel and to help him and keep him safe. And I looked also to say goodbye to me. He looked through the window first in the weekend, then he said goodbye. I know it was the look Pat gives to say goodbye. And also when he fell down, he was footing one side, and then he looked also to me. So it was the loveliest, beautiful dog I always had. I hope he comes back another way, because I love Pat dearly. Thank you for your connection, really.
Thank you, Martine. Thank you very much for calling in all the way from where
you showed him kindness nobody else would. You did nothing wrong, and he's grateful. He's so grateful.
Yeah.
Wow.
Beautiful message.
Mm.
Yeah.
Very emotional night tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for sharing
Yeah.
your love with us. Tami, amazing as always.
Oh.
Thank you enough for holding space for all the folks who are grieving in the loss of their babies.
It's a tough time.
Yeah, it is. So
thank you so much, Tami.
No, thank you. Appreciate it. And thank all the callers.
Yes, yes.
And thanks for sharing your stories, everybody, because each one is really important to all of us. So thank you so much. And Tami, you're terrific. And I will be joining you on that Friday, on that whatever day
Thursday.
you're
Thursday.
I'm going to do that too.
Okay, great.
Can't wait.
Great. Thank you.
All right, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to Both Sides Now, featuring the unconventional duo Dr. Shirley and Kelly Wine. Two perspectives, one world.